Hello everyone, my name is Dorian. Welcome to another track guide with the LMP2. We are at Twin Ring Motegi, and I haven't been here in about 15 years since the old Gran Turismo days. So it took me quite a while to get used to it, and I couldn't remember the layout. It's basically a brand new track for me, so it took me a couple days. But I'm happy to report I'm having fun here. It's quite difficult with this car. The LMP2 does not fit this track at all. The gearing is not appropriate. Let's say you use first and second gear a lot, and that kind of forces you to really focus on your throttle control. And this is something I'll be talking about a lot in the track guide. Throttle control is everything on this track. It's everything in this car, but specifically on this track, since you're using first and second so much, you're really gonna have to be extra smooth, extra careful with your throttle implementation. That's it. If you enjoy it, leave a like, subscribe, let me know in the comments what you think. Hop over to my Discord as well. I'm just gonna show you guys the lap real quick, and then we're gonna go over it corner by corner. See you on the track. Okay, so we're coming up to turn number 1. Let's look for a braking point. It's going to be right between the 100 and the 50, let's say the 75. Right around here, I'm going to use the curb on the left to maximize my approach, and I'm going to start turning in very early and very subtly at this point. So as I turn in, I'm starting to release the brake, and most of my turning is being done from this point on. Downshifting into second gear, all the way into the first apex. Trying to trail brake right about now. And as soon as I reach the first apex, I'm going to downshift into first right now. Letting the car go neutral, go to the middle of the track. Not really the middle, I'm leaving about a car width worth of room here on the right. And from the middle, I'm going to start accelerating. Short shifting into second because I don't want a back end to kick out. Open up the wheel just a little bit before I turn in again for the second apex, and open up the wheel some more on the exit. Being very gradual with the throttle here, that's the key for this track. All the corners require the same thing, so keep that in mind. Now, looking for a braking point, right at the 100. Braking very hard, again, using the curb on the right here to maximize my approach. Already starting to turn in slightly. You can see it, just a little wiggle with the wheel, trying to turn it in just a tiny bit as I'm braking. And around the fourth cone is where I'm going to really start turning in into second gear, looking for the apex. I'm looking for an early apex here because I already want to open up the wheel and start accelerating, because this is like a double apex corner, but I'm treating it as two different corners. So already accelerating, opening up the wheel a little bit. Let the car go wide. I want to let it go as wide as I dare to maximize my approach for this other corner. And as soon as I kind of hit the first cone here, I'm gonna start lifting off just a tiny bit, because there's a braking point with the rear tires here. They have a tendency to snap oversteer. They just let go at some point, so you want to do a tiny bit of lifting here to make sure you can commit the full throttle from this point on. So as I approach the curb, I'm going back to 80, 90, 100%, and from this point I don't have to lift again. Second gear the whole way through, into third, about halfway through it. You can kind of short shift into third a little bit, that might help you on the exit, but keep in mind that it does shut in on you on the exit here. You want to keep turning the whole way through. You never want to open up the wheel fully, you'll end up on the grass. Using the curb on the way out, and line the car up to the left for our next corner. Now the 100 board is your friend. You want to brake right before, let's say 102, 105. Braking very hard. Again, using the curb on the left, maximizing my approach. Braking very hard. You are braking downhill. You got to keep in mind that when you're braking downhill, you want to stay on the brakes for longer. All the way down into first gear. I'm going to start turning in right about now. As you can see, there's slight movement with the wheel. I'm trying to adjust the car into the road very slightly as I'm braking, because I'm trying to avoid lockup, so I don't want to be very aggressive with my initial input. And as I know I can release the brakes, that's where I'm putting most of my input into first just now. And as I put it in first, I'm letting the car go neutral, and this is very crucial for this track, because if you try to brake while you're in first gear, you're gonna spin the rear end around, and that's not gonna be a good day. So very neutral, very little trail braking, and when I reach the apex, I'm already quite neutral. As I hit it, I'm going to start accelerating back out again, 30, 40%. Very lazy with the throttle here, 50%. You think you can go faster, but you really can't. 60, 70, 80, 90%. There's no point where I'm just slamming it. I'm trying to be very smooth. And even with that, I kicked in the traction control a little bit, so really have to be careful. Nice, easy, short route there, nothing special. And I'm gonna brake right as this blue part of the curb starts. Again, using all of the track, letting the car go wide. Trying to brake right around here, braking uphill, so it's a short braking point. And I'm releasing it very early. I'm gonna start turning in third gear. And I'm gonna downshift into second quite late, so right around here. This is when I downshift into second, you can see the blip. And the reason behind that is I want to hug the inside here. I'm kind of compromising the exit on this corner to maximize my entry speed and mid corner and exit speed on the next one. It's way more important. So I'm very neutral, a little bit of trail braking, and taking the car to around the middle of the track here. Accelerating between 50 and 80% throttle, and lifting again. Tiny bit of trail braking, keeping the car neutral. Not trying to hug the inside here too early, or at all really. This is where all the rubber is. This corner is very fast. You want to make a big effort on carrying as much speed into this corner as possible. And back on the throttle quite early. 50%, 60, 70, 80, and back to 100 just now. Then go all the way to the outside, and then line the car up to the right again for a very early braking point. The reason I'm braking early here is because if you try to brake into this corner, and it's a first gear corner first of all, so any first gear corner here, if you try to really brake into it, you're gonna kick the rear end around, and you're gonna feel the most on this corner. So you really want to do most of your braking very early, and sort of trail braking, be very neutral into it. The braking point itself, there's not a real indication, but right here is when I make the decision. Braking very hard, going wide, and trying to maximize my approach here. And look at my wheel input, this is very important. So I'm loading up the front and the rear tires very gradually. At no point am I flicking the wheel here. I'm being very smooth with the wheel, because it does want to kick out the whole way through here, on the entry, in the mid corner, and on the exit. Be nice and neutral here, and going back to the throttle very gradually, 30, 40%. Just a tiny bit, tiny increments, 50, 60, and as the wheel straightens out, I'm back to 100. Line the car up to the left again, and a similar corner. The back end doesn't like to kick loose on the entry, only on the exit here. There's a bit of understeer on the entry. So again, you brake very early, but you can brake a little bit more into the corner. So I'm still braking quite hard, only now releasing it. Still 30-40%, that's a lot of braking in comparison to the other one. And now I'm trail braking into it. As about third way through it, I'm gonna start trail braking. So you wanna brake very late here. Now the braking point itself, I don't really have an indication, but I would say the 75-ish, 70-ish. That's your braking point. You wanna turn into it quite late. You don't wanna turn in too early. One apex right around here, and as I put my wheel on the curb here, I'm gonna start accelerating back out again. 40, 50, 60, 70, and back to 100 as the wheel's straight. Looking for a braking point here. Now remember, you're braking downhill, so you're gonna have to stay on the brakes for a while longer than it would have been if you were braking on a plane or uphill. So we're gonna brake, let's see, right around here, right before the 100. The closer you are to 100, you'll gain some time on entry, but it's hard to keep that minimum speed up through the corner, so I'm braking quite early here. And I'm going to stay on the brakes for a very long time. Again, looking for maximizing my approach by putting about a third of the car on the curb and stay on the brakes for a long time here. Trying to turn in very gradually, loading up the front tires very gradually. And as I approach the halfway point, I'm going to start braking, trail braking into first gear. Mounting the curb nicely. And back on the throttle again, 40-50% immediately. And waiting a little bit, then slamming it back on. Now, the next complex is basically one corner. Your main focus from this point on is the final corner. So what you want to do is make compromises so you will be able to stick it and get a good exit to the main straight. So I'm not going to let the car go too wide here. I'm already lifting, even though I don't have to. I can stay flat here. I'm already lifting, so I won't go all the way to the outside. There's no rubber here, and I want to be able to brake very gradually, very late, comparatively speaking, I mean. Into second gear, I'm going to take the first apex in second, and as soon as I reach it, I'm going to downshift into first. Trying to maximize my approach, so I'm clipping it quite a lot. I'm about in the middle of the track here, if you're looking for, if you're looking at it in a straight line. And turning in, I want a late apex here. So I just hit the apex. The car is much easier to go straight on the exit here, and I'm very gradual, very linear on the exit. Still not at 100% even at this point. And that will give us a 137.443. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, let me know in the comments what you think, and hop over to my Discord as well. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.